After nearly 2 decades of working with South African retirees, I've learned this. The difference between a stressful retirement and a successful one has very little to do with how much money you actually have to retire with. It has everything to do with how you think, plan, and behave once the paycheck stops. I've seen retirees with modest portfolios live calm, fulfilled lives, and I've seen other retirees with tens of millions of rands constantly anxious. The reason? The most successful retirees share 7 very specific habits.
And today, we're going to walk you through those habits. Not theory, not hype, but what we actually see working in real retirements. These are the 7 habits of the most successful South African retirees.
So, before we get into the 7 habits, let me ask you one thing. If you're approaching retirement or already retired and you want clear, practical guidance that helps you make confident decisions with your money, then this channel is for you. We release in-depth retirement planning videos specifically for South African retirees, covering income, tax, investing, and real-life decisions that matter once the paycheck stops. So if that's valuable to you, please do us a favor, subscribe to the channel and like this video. It helps us to reach much more South Africans who are trying to retire well, and it ensures you don't miss the next video in this series. Alright, Mr. Sondlo, let's get into the first habit.
Yes, so the first habit is they know their monthly number. Successful retirees are crystal clear on one thing. What does our lifestyle actually cost per month? Not a guess, not a rough estimate, a real tested number. At Family Wealth Custodians, as part of our 360-degree retirement income planning, we help retirees break this down properly so that there are no surprises later. They understand the following: essential spending, for example, medical aid and gap cover, municipal rates, electricity and water, groceries, insurance premiums, basic transport and fuel, and then lifestyle spending. The following examples: travel and holidays, eating out and entertainment, golf, paddle, gym memberships, helping children or grandchildren, hobbies and leisure activities, and lastly, one-off and irregular costs. For example, replacing a car every few years, home maintenance and renovations, big trips, medical excesses, or once-off procedures. This habit removes fear. When you know your number, retirement stops feeling vague and starts feeling manageable.
The second habit is they understand retirement isn't a straight line. Successful South African retirees understand one key truth. Retirement doesn't happen at one speed. Spending, lifestyle, and priorities change over time. And the most successful retirees plan for that from day one. At Family Wealth Custodians, this forms a key part of our dynamic retirement income plan. Instead of assuming the same spending every year, we plan for the natural phases of retirement, what we call the go-go, slow-go, and no-go years. The go-go years is also called early retirement. These are the active years, typically the first 10 years after retirement. A large portion of spending during this phase often goes towards the following: more travel and holidays, eating out and socializing, hobbies, sports and entertainment, helping your children or your grandchildren, or upgrading cars or homes while health still allows. Spending is often higher than expected during this phase, and that's perfectly fine if it's planned for. The next phase is called the slow-go years or middle retirement. As retirees slow down, physically spending patterns begin to change. Typical examples include fewer long or overseas trips, more local and shorter travel, lower discretionary spending, and more stable and predictable monthly expenses. Lifestyle costs are often decreased slightly during this phase, creating a natural buffer in the plan. The final phase is the no-go or late retirement years. This is where many retirement plans fails, if it hasn't been anticipated. Travel and lifestyle spending reduce, but medical and healthcare costs increase sharply. Common examples include medical and aid becoming a single largest monthly expense, gap cover and higher out-of-pocket medical costs, home care, assisted living, or frail care, and also once-off medical procedures. The most successful retirees give themselves permission to spend and enjoy the early years, knowing that those are the healthiest and most active years of retirement. But at the same time, they meticulously plan for the later years when medical expenses and frail care are likely to become their biggest costs. That balance, enjoyment now, preparation for later, is what makes retirement sustainable.
The third habit, they have a clear investment strategy. The most successful South African retirees don't invest randomly. No, they have a clear investment strategy that caters for short-term income needs, medium-term stability, and of course, long-term capital growth. They understand that retirement investing is no longer about chasing returns, but it's about funding a lifestyle today while protecting the future. At Family Wealth Custodians, this forms a core part of how we structure retirement portfolios. We use what's known as the three bucket strategy to give retirees clarity and confidence. So the first bucket, this is the short-term income, typically between 0 and 3 years. This bucket is designed to fund day-to-day living expenses and near-term income needs. The typical characteristics are, it's cash and income-focused investments. There's low volatility, high liquidity, and this bucket ensures retirees can draw income without worrying about market movements. When markets are volatile, income still flows. Now the second bucket, the medium term or stability bucket. It's between 3 to 7 years. Now this bucket provides stability and flexibility. It's typically invested in balanced or multi-asset portfolios, in moderate growth assets, or income and growth combined. This bucket allows the portfolio to replenish bucket 1 over time without forcing sales at the wrong time. And lastly, the third bucket, the long-term growth, which is 7+ years. This bucket is about protecting purchasing power over a long retirement. The typical characteristics are growth assets like equities, both local and offshore. It has high volatility in the short term and strong growth potential over time. This bucket ensures that the portfolio continues to grow even while income is being drawn. So you ask why this matters. Without a strategy like this, retirees often make emotional decisions, selling growth assets when markets fall, drawing income from the wrong place, or becoming overly conservative too early. The three bucket strategy covers income needs today. It creates stability for the next phase of retirement, and it protects long-term capital for the years ahead. Successful retirees don't rely on hope. They rely on a clear strategy, one that supports their income today and still grows their capital for the future.
The fourth habit, they don't put all their eggs in one basket. This might sound like a cliche, but the most successful South African retirees understand a simple truth. Concentration creates a risk. Diversification creates resilience. Once you're retired, you no longer have the luxury of waiting decades for one bad decision to recover. So I experienced this firsthand. My father passed away when I was 16 years old. And after his death, my mother and both my grandmothers invested their entire life savings into a single investment based on poor advice. That investment later went bankrupt. I watched them lose everything, not because they were reckless, but because all their eggs were in one basket. That experience shaped how I think about retirement planning. That's why the most successful retirees make sure their wealth is spread intentionally, not accidentally. At Family Wealth Custodians, diversification is built into every retirement plan, not just across investments, but across risks. So now the question is, how do successful retirees diversify? Successful retirees don't rely on one asset class, one investment strategy, or one country, one currency, or one income source. Instead, they did diversify across asset classes like cash, bonds, property and equities, geography, South Africa and also offshore, currencies, rand and other foreign currency exposure, and income sources, living annuity, discretionary investment, and tax-free savings account, and they also might have rental income or other sources of income. Why does this matter in retirement? Because South African retirees face risks that they can't control. Local and economic shocks, political uncertainty, and currency volatility. All of these have significant impacts in the long term, and diversification ensures that no single event can derail an entire retirement income plan. The goal in retirement isn't the highest possible return, it's stable, reliable outcomes that you can depend on.
The fifth habit is that they optimize tax every year. Successful South African retirees understand one important reality: that retirement changes the tax rules completely. The strategies that worked while earning a salary often don't work once you're living off your investments. That's why successful retirees are intentional about tax every single year. They're deliberate about where income comes from, when and how capital gains are realized, how living annuities are drawn, and using tax-free and discretionary investments strategically. They understand that in retirement, tax planning isn't a once-off event. It's an ongoing process. Keeping more of what you've earned is just as important as growing it in the first place. We've done a dedicated video on retirement tax planning where we break this down step by step for South African retirees. You'll find the link in the description below.
The sixth habit: they keep their plans simple. The most successful retirees have fewer investment accounts, a clear asset allocation, understandable income sources. They're not constantly switching funds, products, or strategies. Simplicity reduces anxiety, mistakes, emotional decisions. A simple plan is far easier to stick with for 20 to 30 years than a complex one. I've seen this time and time again when we sit with clients and they've got multiple accounts with multiple insurance companies over multiple platforms. They have no idea what's going on, what fees they are paying, what returns they are getting, or what their overall asset allocation is. That's why simplicity is so important.
The seventh and final habit: they review regularly without panicking. Once a year, successful retirees review their spending versus their plan, income sustainability, investment allocation, and estate and beneficiary structures. But they don't react to headlines. They don't chase last year's returns. They don't try to fix normal market volatility. They understand that retirement is a long-term journey, not a series of emergencies.
So Cam, to recap, here are the 7 habits. Number 1, they know their monthly number.
Number 2, they understand retirement isn't a straight line.
Number 3, they have a clear investment strategy for short, medium, and long-term needs.
Number 4, they don't put all their eggs in one basket.
Number 5, they optimize tax every year.
Number 6, they keep their plan simple.
And finally, they review their plan regularly without panicking. If you'd like help creating a clear, personalized plan to reach your retirement goals, you're welcome to schedule a complimentary exploration call with one of our professional team members. You'll find the link in the description below. So those are the 7 habits of the most successful South African retirees that we've seen over the years. Not complicated, not flashy, but incredibly powerful when applied consistently. The real question is, which of these habits do you already apply, and which ones still need work? Tell us in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. Do us a favor, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone approaching retirement. I'm Hardi Swart.
And I'm Sondlo.
This is Family Wealth. Keep investing into your future.